Good evening, guys. Today is Wednesday, September 20th. It is week 4 in college football. That means your LSU Fighting Tigers are taking on the Arkansas Razorbacks this weekend. A night game here in Tiger Stadium this weekend. I'm going down for it, man. I'm excited. I know y'all are excited, man. It is the SEC home opener for LSU. So it's always a good time of year, man. LSU's playing some good ball right now. Arkansas coming off of a rough weekend at home, losing to BYU after being 8.5 point favorites. But that being said, man, this is a rivalry game. Everybody knows kind of how this game always plays out, man. It's always a tough physical game for LSU, kind of like the Auburn series, man. It is just always back and forth. Arkansas always gives LSU problems, and that's not going to change this year, man. That line is all the way up to like 18 and a half, 17 and a half range, depending on what you're looking at. Personally, I feel like that's a little high, a little bit more inflated because of Arkansas's loss and LSU's humongous win at Mississippi State last week. But, them guys in Vegas know a heck of a lot more than I do about football. But like I said, I personally think that's a little high. But the excitement is in the air, man. LSU football is playing very well right now, coming off their best performance of the year. Arkansas coming off their worst performance of the year. So all those factors included are kind of why the line is so inflated at this point. Other than that, man, it's a humongous weekend in college football in general. The LSU Arkansas game is like not even on anybody's radar, being that you have Notre Dame, Ohio State, you have Colorado, Oregon, you have FSU and Clemson. All kinds of big games this weekend, but we're going to focus on LSU, of course, here on the pod. Man, Arkansas coming in after a loss, kind of in that wounded animal mode, man. This is a scary time to be playing teams like that. You end up maybe, as of right now, Sam Pittman's press conference, he is still unsure of Rocket Sanders, 1,000-yard rusher from last year, Arkansas's leading running back, is going to be able to play. So that's a huge factor going into this game. As of right now on Wednesday, he is listed as questionable. If he can go, obviously he's going to go, man. This is a big game for Arkansas, obviously coming off a loss and starting off conference play for them. This is their first conference game. This is LSU's second conference game. But, want to get off to a big start, rivalry game, take some of that pressure off KJ Jefferson. The offensive line for Arkansas has definitely had its struggles. They're one of the worst teams in the SEC at pass protection. KJ Jefferson has been sacked 10 times this year already. So this is an opportunity for LSU's defensive line to go out there, win their one-on-ones, get pressure on KJ Jefferson. What was that, a couple years ago? Arkansas really, was able to create a lot of plays, converting third downs and stuff with KJ Jefferson's legs. That's a big part of his game. So it's going to be key for LSU to keep them behind the sticks. They're going to want to run the ball and kind of keep it in that third and medium, third and short range. If LSU can stop the run like they were able to against Mississippi State, it could be another long day at the office for LSU's opponent. But if they won't be able to, it's a lot of third and shorts, and then you have to keep a guy in to keep KJ Jefferson in that pocket, man, because he is a dynamic weapon at running the football as well as throwing the football. He's a tremendous quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, which means you're always going to have a chance to win with him in the game. LSU, on the other hand, man, LSU found its stride this past week, beating Mississippi State by 30 points, or a little bit less than 30 points. But that being said, man, Jaden Daniels was on fire last week. Hopefully he can continue that, build into this week. Like I said, it's a huge game for LSU, man. This is the SEC home opener. I know they're excited to have that home crowd behind them. A night game in Tiger Stadium. It really doesn't get much better than this, man. And this is kind of like another game to kind of springboard you. Where do you want to be? What do you want this team to be? Do you want this team to be a team that lost to Florida State and kind of goes throughout the whole season kind of nonchalantly winning games but kind of not, asserting themselves? LSU has a real chance at winning the SEC this year, and I'd like to see them take those steps of asserting themselves as one of those top contenders. And it's going to take in week and week out performances like the one they had last week. I'm more interested in seeing how the defense does this week, obviously defending a dual threat quarterback. And Arkansas, unlike Mississippi State last week, knows their identity. They want to run the football. They're going to try to beat you up. KJ Jefferson, once again, is a tremendous quarterback, just like Will Rogers is. Will Rogers is just learning a whole new system. Arkansas has had its struggles, like I said, with the offensive line. So a big game for Harold Perkins last year in this game in Fayetteville basically carried LSU to a win. People kind of forget that this game was super close last year with Malik Hornsby in there. Arkansas just couldn't get anything going offensively. But LSU played about as poorly as they had played all season last year against Arkansas. So hopefully they don't duplicate that effort. That was a rough one for LSU, but I'm looking forward to it. I know you guys are looking forward to it. Arkansas's defense, a very solid unit, returns a lot of starters. They get after the quarterback better than anybody in the SEC right now. They have a sack rate percentage of 18, which is number one in the nation right now. So tons of sacks. Granted, they haven't been playing the level of competition that they're going to see on Saturday, but obviously that's a factor in the game because LSU's offensive line did struggle in week one at protecting Jaden Daniels. So, you're facing elite competition every week in the SEC, and this is no different here in Arkansas. The battle here to watch for, my battle of the day, is going to be Malik Neighbors coming off a historic performance for him. Personal best, over 200 yards receiving on last Saturday against Mississippi State, going against his old buddy Dwight McGlothern, former LSU cornerback, now at Arkansas in his second year or third year, I believe. He's their best lockdown corner. Malik's our best receiver. That's going to be a matchup I'm going to be intrigued on all weekend long. Hopefully LSU can pull this one out. The line is sitting around 17.5, 18, depending on where you're looking at. Personally, I think that's kind of high. I don't think LSU is going to cover, but I do think LSU pulls out a 2-touchdown victory. They're going to win this game with a final score of 38-28. It could be one of those games where it's kind of a game later, and then LSU kind of pulls away at the end. That's kind of how I see it playing out. Arkansas is going to come out with a lot of energy. Like I said, they're in that wounded animal mode. They want to get that bad taste out of their mouth. They're going to come out and try to punch LSU and try to make this a game. LSU can find a way to get up early. You can kind of see this thing getting out of hand and maybe falling into that 18 to 20 point range. But personally, I don't see that happening. I think LSU's going to win. I think LSU's going to win comfortably. I expect another big day from the offense. Really intrigued to see how the offensive line holds up against a solid defensive line. That's going to be another matchup to keep an eye on. Also, Logan Diggs kind of asserting himself as the number one guy there at the running back position. What do we see from that standpoint? You have now Logan Diggs, John Emery, Josh Williams, kind of holding it down there. So interested in see what that is, and hopefully LSU can get the win this weekend. I'm going to be out there, man. I'm super excited. I'm sure you guys are as well. That's all I got for today, man. That's all we're breaking down for Arkansas and LSU. Make sure you guys check it out. If you haven't already, man, subscribe to the page, like the video, do whatever you got to do, man. It's completely free. It costs y'all nothing. Game this week is on ESPN at a 6 p.m. start time, which is awesome. If you're an LSU fan, you couldn't really ask for a better time than that. And we'll be breaking it down, man, after this weekend. We'll be breaking down what happens in the game and what happens in every game the rest of the season. Like I said before, man, if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you guys for watching.